Hello, everyone, and I hope you're having an amazing, fantastic day today. In today's video, I will be doing something that I didn't think I was actually going to do, but I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to read Reddit stories that I found on Reddit. Um, and I'm going to have Stardew Valley playing in the background. And I would like to mention that this is my gameplay. This is actually my first time ever playing Stardew Valley on my computer. I have played Stardew Valley before, but I never actually played the game. So, um, if you don't mind and you are watching the gameplay in the back while listening, I wouldn't mind if you gave any tips or suggestions on how to progress in Stardew Valley because I am actually very new to the game. Or as new as I can get because, like I said, I have played before, but I'm not that good. But with that all being said, let's get into the part of the video that you're probably here for. Alright, so we're starting today with a pretty short story, if you ask me. Am I the asshole for cutting contact with my best friend of 9 years because she badmouthed me behind my back? I'm part of a close group of 5 friends. Recently, I found out that one of my best friends, let's call her M, has been talking badly about me behind my back for the past 6 months. She told another friend that she doesn't even consider me a real friend and is just tolerating me in the group. I grew up in a strict household, so I often had to lie to my parents to hang out with friends. Sometimes when I couldn't, I'd stay home. Em knew this. I thought we were close enough to talk openly even when someone was upset. But instead of talking to me, she gossiped. Something she's done to others in the group and something I've always hated. What hurts more is that we already cut someone else out of the group in the past for doing exactly this kind of thing. Em knew how strongly I felt about gossip and still did it. After I found out, I stopped talking to her. I didn't confront her directly. I'm bad at confrontation. And she later gave me a vague apology that felt more like self-pity than anything real, on with the others. Am I the asshole for cutting her off without confirmation? Should I just forgive her and move on? No, you're not the asshole. If anything, your friends are the assholes for even letting this continue and condoning M's actions. Especially if a situation like this has happened in the past. Also, it's not your fault that you may have strict parents or anything and you're not able to go out sometimes. Am I the asshole for wanting my wife to give up her dream because it makes me uncomfortable? I, 25 male, married my wife, 23 female, just over a month ago. She is everything I prayed for in a woman. She's funny and kind, but also strong and stubborn with an attitude that's been passed down through every woman in her family. I only have one issue. I've never told her about this problem, and that's on me. We should have had a conversation a long time ago. My wife is a bookworm, through and through. She's very, very creative. She draws and paints and is always making custom gifts for everyone. She bakes cakes for everyone's birthday, and her cake designs are incredible. When it comes to the books, she reads just about every genre, but the majority of them are spicy romance or fantasy. I want to be clear that I have no issue with her reading these spicy books. Quite the opposite, actually. Sometimes I give her some ideas of things we should do, and I enjoy it. She has been working on a romance fantasy novel since she graduated high school. She has put countless hours into her world building and characters. She plans on it being a 5-book series if she gets published. The story itself is actually incredible. I myself am a huge fan of fantasy, and I truly believe that if she once wasn't balancing school, work, and some family issues along with writing, she would be published by now, and is where my issue lies. I am very uncomfortable with the spicy scenes she has written. It feels a lot different than the things she's read that someone else wrote. I don't like the fact that she's sitting there with a pen and paper imagining a steamy encounter. And I fear the reaction from our friends and family if or when she does get published. We are both Christians, and I'm not sure how our community will respond to something so crash. I have asked her once about what her family might think of it, and she said she's not worried. Her mother and older sister read the same type of book, and her grandfather probably wouldn't even read it. She said if he does, she will just block out certain parts he shouldn't read. Now that she finally has stable working hours and time to finish the manuscript of the first book, she is a very talented writer, and I have no doubt that she will succeed in finding a publisher that will work with her. This is what scares me the most. Am I overreacting? Should I talk to her about this and see if she will give up the book? Am I the asshole? Alright, so before we continue, this story actually has 2 more updates, so let's read those before we give our thoughts on it. I want to thank everyone for their comments, even the ones that were super harsh. I realize this is a me problem, not a her problem. I'll be talking to my wife tonight. Not to tell her to give up on her dream, but to express how I'm feeling and see if there's a way I can work through it. I will admit I am an asshole, and I suck at communicating. She's always been better at that. I love her more than anything, and my intentions were never to trap her and force her to give this up. She has only recently began to write said spicy scenes due to how busy she is. Most of the writing so far has been world building and character profiles she has made, but nothing too scandalous yet. So the anxiety about it has just kind of started. Again, thank you for your comments, and I'll let you guys know how she responds. I talked with my wife last night. I was pretty nervous to bring this up to her. A lot of you here had me thinking she was just going to up and leave me. Spoiler alert, she didn't. I couldn't quite come up with the words, so I just showed her this post. The first thing she did was laugh. That scared me a bit based on her personality. I've seen her bite back at someone with a genuine smile on her face. She then looked at me and said, "Wow, you look like such an ass." She took my hands and said she understood how this could make me a bit uncomfortable, and that she herself was uncomfortable writing these things when she first started. She explained to me that it's not like she's writing down all her innermost desires, that she's written from the perspective of the characters. She said she spent so much time creating them and their personalities, their wants and feelings, that she's able to put herself in their shoes and show because they desire. Not her. That made me feel a bit better. She then brought up the comments and about the religious aspect. She said she thinks that is the main reason why. She said she thinks that's the main reason why I'm so uncomfortable, because I'm worried about what our community will say. I already knew this about her, but she reminded me about how it took her a long time to come back to faith after her childhood. She was raised Christian, but as she grew up, she had issues with the hypocrisy in the church. And when her grandmother passed, she stopped going. She told me one of the main reasons she was secure in her faith again is because we had found a community and a church of real Christians. Ones who are supportive and loving like that are supposed to be. Not stuck up and condensing. She told me to have more faith in our community because they will be proud. The conversation went on further on how I have some trust issues from a past relationship, and she said she understands, but not to put that on her because she's not that woman. We talked about me seeing a therapist to help with that and my communication skills. She reassured me that she loves me and she's proud to be my wife. She was pretty stunned at the comments saying I was trying to trap her. We had a good laugh about that. She wanted me to tell y'all that she is gonna stop writing her book and her spicy scenes, and that she hopes that y'all will see her face on the back of a bestseller one day. in the first part of the story, you could definitely be considered an asshole because your wife is allowed to make or do whatever she wants. And honestly, it's not even like she was like making a purely spicy book, it sounds like, because from what you described, she was making all the characters and building the world around them, focusing on their personalities and what they like. So it seemed like she actually cared about the characters in the story than just making them in spicy scenes. But it was great that you talked to her and actually said what was on your mind, because this could have gotten a bit worse if you just didn't say anything at all. And luckily this ended all in just a couple laughs, and it sounds like she's not gonna stop pursuing her dream, but she's gonna drop the book she was writing before. So this is a first time post for me, and I just need some advice or to figure out if I'm being too much. I, 34 female, asked my neighbor Olivia, 38 female, to move into my apartment as we both lived in 2-bedroom apartments with an empty room, to help us save money for the both of us, as living is expensive. For some background, I have lived in my apartment for 8 years at this point and have had other roommates before. The neighbor had been in her apartment for 20 years. We had gotten along and would hang out every so often as friends. I also have severe depression, anxiety, and possibly PTSD. I'm currently not in therapy or on medication. I'm working on changing that. When I had asked her to move in, she was only at her apartment about 1 to 2 days a week max. So we discussed that she was essentially renting a room. Things have since changed, that she will be here like 95% of the time. She also doesn't clean a lot, and while working a great paying job is very cheap, like buy everything secondhand on Facebook Marketplace, including mattresses. She keeps stuff far longer than she should. Like having the same mismatched destroyed furniture for the 8 years I have known her. Things are not all over the apartment. Maybe some dust buildup. I also have 2 jobs. One is seasonal, and that season has begun. So I will be working like 60 to 70 hours a week. I also like having matching decoration and furniture if I can complete an aesthetic. Like I have a matching coffee table with 2 end tables, matching lamps, and I have a color scheme that even extends to my bedroom. Change can also be a hard thing for me, especially when sprung on me. To me, it's the items that to me the items have their own places, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now on to where I need some advice or to be told I may be the asshole. Olivia has begun moving her stuff into my apartment. She had discussed with me about bringing over a chair with an ottoman from her old place because the cat likes it. I was like, I guess that's fine. I had also talked about getting a new entertainment center and moving some stuff around for it to fit. Now that is the only thing we had discussed about her stuff moving to shared spaces. She moves in some more stuff, and all of a sudden she puts a random floor lamp in the living room, even though I already have 2 lamps and a ceiling fan. She had offhandedly talked about getting rid of one of my matching tables and lamps. Why? She also put the floor lamp next to the table. Then I come home from work one day, and now there's a second mini fridge in my kitchen. My shelves with my plants moved. A random 3-drawer cart in my kitchen, and she's putting things and knickknacks in the living room where there is no room for the stuff. She put a bunch of stuff in front of my movies on the shelves. She has baskets of even more things that there is no room for in the living room. At least currently. Hence the new entertainment center. She brought over the chair today. It is so much bigger than I expected it to be. Doesn't really fit in the space it was put and is blocking the air conditioning unit. I might talk to her about getting rid of the giant chair and getting a different one that is smaller and actually fits in the space. All of the stuff she is doing is making my anxiety go through the roof and get very angry. Mainly because there was no communication about her doing such things. Before anyone comes after me, I have given her space in shared closets and has half the space in the bathroom. The other stuff besides like her personal things that she will need, I already have. Like I have a fridge and a mini fridge. We'll make space for all her food in the pantry and fridge slash freezer. I have more cookware than she did by far along with small appliances. And it was discussed that she would essentially be renting a room. So am I the asshole for getting so upset the changes she has made to my apartment? Am I letting this bother me too much? Also, I know I need to talk to her about these things, otherwise it'll just marinate and it will get much worse for me because I will end up hating being in my apartment. Well, personally, I believe you are sort of the asshole in this story because you invited her into your house knowing what type of person she is and knowing how she is in general. Also, you are completely right. You need to talk to her about these things and see how you can fix this situation because you're going to live with her for a good bit if everything works out. Well, thank you guys for watching. That was my attempt at reading Reddit stories while playing Stardew Valley at the same time. To you guys, and I'm doing this because I'm trying to also improve my reading skills. And I was like, why not make content out of it if I'm gonna read Reddit stories? Because I also find Reddit stories very, very interesting. But with that being said, I hope I'll catch you in the next one. And I hope you have a nice day. Peace.